Welcome back. Dale Myers with Vision Advanced. Today we're going to discuss general partnership versus LLC. One has a whole lot more risk than the other. Now, anytime you're forming a new business venture, it's critical that you spend some time and evaluate what's the right thing for me in terms of initial costs, how many people are going to be involved, how we intend to run the business, taxation, and liability. This is huge. Personal liability for the debts and obligations of the business. So a couple different things. As I'm moving forward trying some different business models out, and one thing, I have a lot of family members that are involved in construction. Great builders, electricians, lots of different things within the construction industry. And we've talked at different points about doing some joint ventures together, where I provide the business expertise, the marketing, and then they, do what they do well, and we grow businesses, And recently I had a conversation, and we got to talking a little bit more about what would that look like. They already have an existing business. I already have mine. Should we form something new, but then you're gonna sort of lose out on some brand recognition with the existing business? Or do you just do a partnership? A partnership is considered to be a general partnership. Now, so that's where we'll start. So general partnership versus LLC. I already told you that we're gonna look at formation. That's the first part. How do you form a partnership? You literally can start with a handshake. Back in the day, when people formed a business together, whether or not they went to the state and did anything, the moment you shook hands and decided to engage in business, you were a partnership. So technically there's no legal entity called partnership. I mean, it sort of is, but again, you don't have to file anything with forming a partnership. On the other hand, with an LLC, you have to register with your state. So there is some cost right there. So that's another distinction. Again, you don't necessarily have to file anything for your general partnership, but with an LLC, you're going to have to file some fees. Here in Georgia, it's a $100 fee plus $50 a year annually for an LLC. And of course, if you decide to get legal counsel to help you form that, those fees are associated there. All right. The other thing about a general partnership is always two or more people. An LLC can have one person. You could be a solo member LLC, or multiple people. So that's another distinction. Partnerships are always two or more. All right. We talked about costs. Now, the other thing I need to say, in both of these cases, there may be some additional costs if you decide to. Some municipalities insist you pay a fee for a fictitious name doing business as. That could be with the general partnership or the LLC. So that one just depends. Liability. So we're going to talk about personal liability. In the case of a general partner or partnership, whatever the business owes, you owe in direct proportion to your ownership. You own 50%. If the business takes out a loan, you're 50% on that loan. If the business can't pay it back, they are coming for you, at least for 50% of it. And then the other part goes to your partner. If it's three of you and it's equal, each of you have 33 1/3. You are responsible for the business debts and business obligations. They pass through to you. Keep that in mind, because I said with a handshake, you're a partner. Be very careful. Just like in what I was talking about, if I decide, okay, let's do a partnership, and all of a sudden they go out and do something, now someone can come and get at me for my assets, and now I'm held responsible. So that is not something to be taken lightly. You really, really need to evaluate this decision. I'm not saying it's the wrong decision, but you really need to evaluate it. On the other hand, an LLC is a legal entity. It has its own legal standing. In general, unless you do what's called piercing the corporate veil, if you don't handle your paperwork properly, LLCs typically are protected Whatever the business does, the owners are separate from it. The business can own its own set of property. The business can apply for loans. So there's lots more protection in the form of an LLC as opposed to a general partnership. Let's look at taxation purposes. They can be similar here. So the LLC is technically, you can be taxed as a sole proprietor, you can be taxed as a corporation, or you can choose to be taxed as a partnership. In the case of the partnership, it's passed through taxation. Actually, it's similar to that in solo practitioner. So taxation purposes, it depends on what you select as an LLC under the advice of your professional accountant, not your cousin. I've done it before, but I'm thankful now that I actually do, use professional advice, because that can get you in trouble, guys. Let's see. So taxation general partnership is considered what was the term, a disregarded entity for taxation purposes, and that's a fancy way to say it's passed through taxation. The profits of the business pass through according to your ownership, again, similar to how the debt would be passed through. You own 50%, and you get 50% of the taxes on the profits. And again, this can be similar to LLCs, all right? And meaning LLCs have an operating agreement versus partnerships have a partnership agreement. And within that operating agreement, you can specify exactly what percentage of ownership you have, and based on that percentage, your taxation liability flows from there. So again, management style. Management style, again, totally flexible. You can have 50% ownership, but one person be 100% in charge. Both of these structures allow you to be as flexible as you would like in running your organization. So no real advantage one way or the other there. All right, so we looked at general partnership versus LLC across formation, the costs, the liability in terms of personal liability for debts and obligations, tax liability, and management structure. From where I stand, and most legal scholars agree, although I'm not a legal scholar, but LLC in general is a much better form. It offers significantly better protections. It could be the right fit for you. A general partnership could be, with the consult of some tax and legal professionals. I would not enter into that lightly because it comes with significant risks. So if you have any more questions, please leave a comment below. Pretty soon we're going to talk about, oh, by the way, there are different types. I did general partnership, but there's limited liability partnerships, limited partnership liability. I mean, there's some other crazy stuff. I'll dig into that in another video, but I just want to touch on this one very quickly. My name is Dale Myers with Vision Advanced. Please thumbs up the video, share it across your social media channels, and subscribe if you haven't. Y'all take care.